Hi, I will introduce myself. My name is James Brady. I met your father, Donnie, and we talked a little bit last night at poker night. And he told me some of the stuff you're working on and some of the stuff you did. Young lady, that's impressive. I would love to hear more about your work, or if you have any publications I can look at. I'd like to do the respect of actually reading through and understanding what you're doing so I can talk to it in a way that's meaningful. I would like to introduce you right now, unfortunately, to a little bit of what I'm doing and see if honestly I can perk your interest. To be clear, what I'm about to show you and my expectations are none. I am trying to change the world, though, and I'm not being cheeky about that. I have literally found the more I give away, it's just hard to explain. But so let's talk about it. I'm going to start showing you. Okay, I think this is the best way to illustrate. This is beta. This is not the thing I'm building out, but I'm currently using Zapier to give me essentially a framework to develop out my concept. I'm actually working with a team of people that are far more experienced than me in everything from marketing to mergers and acquisitions, as well as we do have a science team. They are very much kept. I say we, I shouldn't say it like that. I work with people who have a science team. And when I say a science team, they have a mad scientist. He's extremely brilliant, maddeningly so, actually. He's got a eidetic memory, and he is a polymath. And when I say that, I don't use those words lightly. It's beautiful how he can use the Medici effect to pull things together, but we'll talk to that later. What we have here is called Debt Chain Project Hub. Okay, what happened last Tuesday is a group I work with called DET, which stands for Decentralized, Eco-Friendly Blockchain Technology. We have launched blockchain projects that are backed by commodities throughout the world. Most of our work is actually international. Only 8.5 or 8.7% of our community is in the United States. How this works, in short, is we create projects with synthetic proof of work mining, where people can obtain a node license, which will act as the verification server node point, as you might understand if you're familiar with blockchain. It's essentially a way to decentralize processing and make it very difficult to hack if you're not familiar with it. Well, what they did is they developed this out, and in the first year, we did about $2.6 billion in revenue. And I say we a lot. I shouldn't include myself in their brilliance and what they've accomplished, because this is them, and I had the chance to work with them. Um, they built this all out. We've done everything from oil to natural gas to a satellite technology. It's a scanning system. And how it works, it's kind of like an Airbnb. We go in and we provide them a service they can't get without us, that can provide them massive value because of some of the different partnerships we have. And then in exchange, we say, hey, if we're able to realize value on this, you give us a percentage, and we negotiate this. It's all very much industry based. But from that, we've been able to build out multiple projects that are worth over 100 million each. And now what we're doing is this. We are switching over to a layer one over the next 6 to 12 months. I would put it closer to 12 if we're lucky. So to clarify this is never been done before. This, what you see here, I built this icon to represent it because they're not very good at articulating that they've developed a 5-dimensional processing system that is able to use your phone as a node hub for the system. Okay, so you don't need a lot of processing power, but essentially each hub acts as a sort of a neuron that can form multiple connections with other parts of the system. And as long as we have at least 4 nodes operational, the entire system can self-recover. And that has to do with kind of like Markov chains. And a Markov chain isn't accurate, but if you look at the DNA structure within the brain, Ray Kurzweil talks to this. There is not enough information in DNA to formulate the structure of the human brain, not even close. So what it does is very carefully is able to restructure the entire system from certain patterns and processes. And I don't think it really understands what it's doing, but it's just how things have evolved. What they've done here is they've done something similar, where we can have 4 nodes that can communicate with each other, and then 5 nodes, 6 nodes, 7 nodes. As you might understand, this is a factorial event. And when this happens, in traditional blockchain systems, as the data load goes up exponentially over time with additional transactions, you have latency, you have problems with processing. With what we've accomplished here, they've eliminated that. This isn't us. This is a bunch of physicists out of Abu Dhabi that did this, and we purchased this, and we're actually supported by the royal family in Abu Dhabi. We have a floor, the fifth floor, I believe, above their bank that they've given to us to have the developers over there to build this out. And it's already, what I mean by build out is transitioning the Debtbox ecosystem over to the layer one, which is going to be a bitch of a process, actually, because you have to understand migrations, all this are completely possible. But unless you do it in a way that the general person can do with a click of the button, which is going to be a nightmare, there's going to be a lot of destruction and mayhem. What we're doing is in relation to all of that. We're creating a hub because we're turning over the entire ecosystem to essentially a GoFundMe. We're going to flip it, and it's going to allow people to use a graphical user interface to build their own smart contracts for their business idea or their venture, and then they can use our market to build that out. And there's a lot of safeties in place. We can't prevent bad players. I'm not even going to pretend that we're the Holy Grail. We're not, but we're trying to make a difference. And what this means is, let's say you need a $10 million project. And I'm telling you the whole story here for a reason. You have a $10 million project, but you only need $2 million to be operational. And they start selling these node licenses for $100 a piece or $1,000 a piece. Until they reach that threshold, none of that money is dispersed. Everything is KYC'd, meaning you know your customer. All of the owners have to complete that transparency and well known who they are and what's going on. And in addition to that, everything that they do operationally with that money is tracked on the blockchain, not just theoretically tracked like, oh, it's there if you look for it, which it is. But no, we actually have built in a process to where they're going to have certain points along the production chain of their given project that are made readily, not available, but apparent in the back end, where there are people that are buying their licenses can see it. So that's another protocol in safety. And I'm bringing all this up because of the high level of fraud in the space, and we're trying to set the gold standard for ensuring this technology is properly used. What this allows to do, though, above and beyond creating a graphical user interface, is basically the sky's the limit. We're talking about the ability to do virtual reality processing in a decentralized system, which, if you're familiar with processing requirements, that is impossible. But with the advent of what Apple's about to do with the Vision in Q1 of next year, whether you like it or not, they are a massive market mover, and people are going to start moving to space immediately. So we're preparing for that. And what I'm doing in relation to that is I'm building out a business hub for people to come in and build their businesses no matter where they're at. I could be working with a $30 million firm that's going for a funding round, or they want to do a merger and acquisition, or I could be working with a small mom and pop shop that's just trying to figure out how to run their business. And what I'm trying to do is create an open source environment where people can have access to these tools, and they can utilize artificial intelligence and the things, for instance, that Zapier's offering and these other companies are offering. They're trying to make a difference and trying to help people. Now, I know that there are far better tools out there. That's not the point. The point is that 99% of the people that are out there can't communicate with you. They can't communicate with your dad. They don't understand servers. They don't understand any of the stuff that you understand. Like, you are above my level, probably this like high. And I work with general population, and I'm way above them. And I can tell you right now, it's about communication. So what I'm trying to do is create a system here where people have access to all of this stuff, everything from ideation to funding to formulating a business. And I'm stripping away all of the lies. You don't need lawyers. You don't need all this stuff now. You should check your stuff with lawyers. You should check all these things. But there is so much information out there. And with AI and the advent of GPT, I believe that we can start making it readily accessible to the average person. And what I would love for you to do, if you're interested at all, is play with the toys and tools that I am trying to acquire to learn what's possible. One of these tools is Zapier, and I will show you a little bit of what they're up to. If I set you up an account, which I will do, you're going to have to activate the early access to all their beta features. Now let's go to Zapier.com. So, for instance, you would never see this but this is text generative AI that builds out the app. A good way to look at this is if we go over to, oh, I don't want to mess with that. If we go over to ChatGPT and we click here, sorry, I should never bought this thing. It's such a pain in the ass. I go here and I select plugins, right? Go away. And then right here, I've activated only VoxScript, which is internet, and then access to Zapier. Build me a Gmail handler with GPT to handle my emails. This is a simplistic overview, but this is one of the tools they're building out that's all in beta. So initially it will, not GPT-3, no. But we'll let it do this thing here. Please do this with GPT, with chat. And this is where I'll take you into a lot of the features, because this is just kind of like a gateway here. And I know I'm taking time. If you can speed this up to listen to it on 2 times speed or 3 times speed, I hope that God you do. And don't worry, I'm going to send a short zoom and a long zoom, so you can choose to listen to either. So right here, it's built it out for us. Remember, this isn't about how smart we are. It's about how can we help people that are not as smart as we are. Look at that. So that's kind of where it starts. It has this interface here. This is all beta, by the way. This is called the Visual Editor, and we'll have to activate this, but this is a starting point. You can go in, it can basically trigger here, do some handling here that you can customize, and then move forward from there. Now let's go to this part here. This is where I really would love to get your insight. And I know what you're doing is so next level compared to this, but here it is anyways. So we get you early access. You'd have to sign up here. I get you a Teams member account, which will have you the full privileges. And then you get access to building apps with plain English, turn a sentence into code, automatically formulate prompts and data. If you want access to this is their interfaces. This is extra, but I would get you as best access as I can to these features if you are interested in genuinely working with them. It'll cost extra, but I'd love to see your insights. Let's see here. So this is just an interface here. Here's where we look. These are a lot of their partners they're working with, okay? And these are the different systems. So I'm sure you've seen some of these and you're familiar with them. Another one they work heavily with that I'll be having a meeting with, I'm setting it up to work with their CEO, is Eden AI. And this is legit. This is AI for businesses. And if you look here, they get it. They're learning how, look at this. I love the way they formulate all these different systems I'm sure you're familiar with that the AI is communicating with back to the user. And if we look at the technologies page, generative AI, images, text, video, speech, OCR, stuff you're very familiar with, stuff that's probably very simplistic to you. But let's look at their models. This is where you might be interested, maybe not. But this is all the tools they offer. You pay a very cheap membership fee, and then you just pay for the utilization of these. And if you wanted to have access to any of these tools, by the way, to truly make this functional, I'll give you it just so I can learn, because I'd just be happy to learn from you if you're okay with that. But anything they have, I would get for you to look at. And as you can see, they have a lot of stuff they can link in with. And if you look at their pricing model, just so we're clear, I'd probably go with, I'm working with them. I do the professional model if we needed it. So it can do up to 1,000 calls a minute, but then you basically pay just their base costs for the API calls, which, it is what it is. But for starters, I'll probably go with the, let me see if there's anything limited in what you have access to, if and only if you want access to it, I'll get it for you. Okay. But I know you're doing your own research, you're saving the world in your own way, and I don't want to interfere with your path. I want to help you if I can, though. If I can provide any value to you, I will, because I think what you're doing is amazing. That's the summation of that there. Here, I didn't do a very good explanation of going over their tools, because let me show you right here. Zapier. Shoot. I'm so anxious. I'm not typing. Oh, there it was. So filters, you've done this, you've done this, you've done. But they have these tools. One I really want to show you though is AI. Let's see, Zapier. It shows it. So anyways, Zapier specific handler. I have to do it programmatically to show you. So let's go to, well, let's use this one. Create his app. So right here, I'm just going to switch this guy out, and we'll use a webhook because that's a standard trigger. And then we'll go in here, and then AI. There it is. AI by Zapier. Here's where I'm interested. If you look at this, look at the event types it allows. Parse any freeform, parse a lead, smart router, text. These are things that are really important to businesses. But I get the feeling a lot of this isn't going to be of interest to you. But if it is, cool. Anyways, that's what we're working on there. I'm trying to create this business hub for people utilizing a lot of these different tools. A lot of it is really creating content and getting access to things like legal registrations or the smart business model canvases or an AI that can teach people things. And a lot of that stuff can be built out already. But if you have any insights or additional tools people need, like something I need access to personally, is I need a system that can do a numerical analysis of a token structure for how licenses would be distributed, for the rates of royalties, for the rates of ROI on each individual license, and then do projections of how the different things would perform over time. Meaning, like, you set the model and then we project it outward to see what it concludes. Like, I know it's not perfection, but it would allow me at least some insight into potential outcomes. By the way, my undergrad was in physics. I'm not at your level, and I banged my head in LabVIEW. I banged my head in Mathematica, but I never quite figured it out, frankly. I had my teachers help me through a lot of it. But that's it. I'm going to send you a very short version of this that's only a minute long. But this is kind of where we're at, and I'm very open to suggestions. Very open. Thank you so much for your time.